Hi friends, before we start this episode, I just wanted to let you know that here in From Someone Who Gets It, we have raw, vulnerable conversations, and sometimes those conversations can trigger others. I want to let you know that in this season, we touch on suicide, infertility, PTSD, and everything in between. So if those are some subjects that are triggering to you, I just want to let you know that you're heard and you're seen and you're not alone. This podcast is for you, and I hope you join us. Hi everyone, welcome to From Someone Who Gets It, a podcast about life, mental health, and everything in between. I'm your host, Marcela Pawaga, and this season I'll be sitting down with some of my favorite people having raw, vulnerable conversations about goals, dreams, life, and mental health. Every Monday you can find our episodes on the Cultura Talks channel, and I hope you join in. Kelly.
Hi.
Welcome.
This was so exciting.
I'm so excited. I've been wanting you on this pod for a while, so I'm so happy you're here.
I would only make the trek for you.
I know. Coming all the way from the beach, that's insane. During lunchtime,
That's
she
love.
loves us. She
That's
loves
love.
me. I'm so happy you're here. A lot of people don't know that we've known each other for quite some time.
Starving artist days.
Well, it's funny because I didn't see you as a starving artist. I saw you as I was like, what a cool ass bitch coming. Every time you would come into Looks by Low. Looks by Low, shout out to Lauren. That was my first job. And
that was the first time I went into like credit card debt, probably.
no, I literally got that job so that I can buy clothes.
Yes.
Because I was like in school, like I didn't really need it. And I was like, no, I want to buy pretty clothes. And that's where my shopping addiction started.
It was the best.
So thanks,
And
Lauren.
I lived like 5 minutes away. So
No, it was amazing. Every time you had an event
dangerous.
and you would walk in, we were like, we got you.
Yeah. No,
It
honestly,
was-
you guys made it very easy for me to get dressed for events.
But it's funny because I would see you walk in and I'm like, wow, she's like doing it. She's doing the events. She's on the news. Like her face is being shown in places. And I always admired you from like afar. And seeing you now, it's like the coolest thing. I was talking to Eddie about it this morning and I'm like, it's just so cool to see her where she is now to where she was. And even though I always thought that you were the coolest and doing the coolest things, how does it feel to like see your career go the way that it's gone?
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. I'm a huge fan of yours.
Stop.
Personally and professionally. It's been a journey, right? Because like some people don't know what they want to do. And I always kind of knew what I wanted to do. And it would sound delulu.
Right.
Because I would be saying this since I was like 13. Ooh. And I didn't really know what it meant, I just knew that I wanted to talk. That's my only gift. I can't cook. I can't paint, I can't sing, but I can definitely talk.
Yeah.
And so when it finally happened for me and when I was given a shot in my hometown, 10 minutes away from where I was, raised, 2 stoplights away from my parents' house.
Wow.
It was a big deal. You know, it was a great opportunity for me. And I didn't have that news background. I never expected for that to be, my first job as an adult. But I'm so grateful for the women that took a chance on me and let me, live out my dream in my hometown. So I was there for 10 years.
Wow.
I was there for 10 years. Like basically they took my youth. Right. I was there for my entire 20s into mid 30s, early 30s. And so it was really great. I learned so much about the industry, about myself. When you're on live television, like your life doesn't stop.
No.
So I went through a lot of stuff and had to be on camera a minute later. I went through trials, tribulations, heartbreaks, a ton of things. So that was incredible because it was kind of like a crash course into life, which sometimes I'm like, okay, Kelly, like have feelings, but I'm so used to like the camera's on, it doesn't matter what's going on. Right.
Yeah.
But I definitely learned a lot about myself and about the industry. Now it's completely different, being able to do things on my own terms. Right. Which you kind of have to make that decision at some point in your career when you're with a network on whether or not you're going to play it safe and be comfortable. And again, like coming from parents who were immigrants and see you on TV every day And they're like, oh, no, honey, play it safe. Like, ride this wave for as long as you can. If it's not broke, you know, you don't need to fix it. And you're allowed to change your dreams. And it doesn't make you less grateful for the opportunity. But I think I hit a point where I realized, you know, I'm collecting dust here. Yeah. For lack of a better term. I don't know. And I wanted to just live life on my own terms and see what I was capable of doing on my own as Kelly Blanco, not as NBC6's Kelly Blanco, which I would get stopped at and they'd be like, Kelly Blanco, NBC6, you know? And so it's been great to be able to do things on my own term and see like how far I can push. You know, I can wake up one day and be like, I really want to go out and get these like 3 gigs, or, you know, I don't really want to do anything this week. Another thing was prioritizing my personal life, which I never did in those 10 years, because it was all like I thrived off chaos and my life wasn't chaotic, but I thrived off of like change in the car, go to an event, MC this, go to this dinner, do this, do that. And I loved it so much. And
did the downtime affect you? Because I feel like I'm like that. I love the chaos of like, and when I don't have chaos and I have downtime, it really messes with my mental health.
No, it didn't at all. If anything, so funny enough, I was able to get the in-game arena hosting position during the transition, which was like God sent. Right. And then I was also able to start working for Reach TV, which is like the airport channel. Yes. Able to do a travel show with them. And I got that like a little bit before I left NBC. And so I was already positioning myself, you know, for the next chapter of my life. And then I met my fiance while this was all going on as well. And I was like, you know, I'm not getting in a relationship. I probably won't get married. I'm not going to have kids. Like single Kelly. I was like single Kelly for life. I'm going to be 70 years old with 3, you know, cabana boys that are 21 feeding me grapes. That was like my idea. Check. And then whatever single friends I have, we're going to live in a compound and like, it's going to be great in Key West. And so I met him and he doesn't live in Miami. And so if I was still doing what I was doing for 10 years, I don't think I would have been able to prioritize my personal life. Right. But this gave me the space and the liberty and the time to be like, okay, I'm going to put myself first. Yeah. I'm going to take a shot at, you know, love. Isn't that a show? Wasn't that a show? Was that like Flavor Flav or someone or think something? So. Who was that? Shot of Love. Oh wait, Tila Tequila or something? Oh God. Oh my gosh. I wasn't even allowed to watch MTV, but wait, I think that was that someone who was on that show. Crazy. Stop. Yeah. Oh my gosh, how do I remember that? That's wild. Insane. I don't even remember. Today I was like, where are my earrings? And I was on the phone with one of my best friends and I was like, wow, I'm wearing my earrings. So the fact that I even remembered that is wild. The downtime, he lives on an island, by the way. So we commute back and forth. And when I'm over there, I'm like island living. And he's like, no, you live here too. You're not on vacation. Like, come on. And I'm like, you're right. And I'm like, oh, I love it. Honestly, I just needed it. I was burnt out. Most importantly, that was, you know, what I needed to change about my lifestyle. Right. And no, I don't feel any like regrets or any, like, I don't get anxious when it's downtime. Not yet, at least. Right. But, let's talk about the burnout, because I think like people don't acknowledge burnout because then you feel like, oh, you're not grateful for all the things that you have going on. And it's like, no, it's not that. It's like sometimes we just need a second to be like, okay, I am grateful for everything. I love all these opportunities that I have, but I also love me and I need to take care of me. Yeah, you always have to take care of yourself first and foremost, because let's just say that you run yourself through the mud and then you get sick. Yeah. Well, then you're not going to be able to do any of the stuff that you were doing. Right. I have a battle with that because I have a lot of friends that are like, okay, well, there is no balance, because if it's a balance, then that means you're doing things half-ass. And then on the other end, I have other friends that are like, you always have to, you know, put yourself first and have balance to be happy. And it's different every week. Sometimes I need the balance and sometimes I need the chaos. Yeah. And I thrive on both. So I think like wherever you are, that's where you need to make the best out of it.
Yeah.
So like when I am go, like today I have 3 things back to back to back. And I will be present for each thing. And then tomorrow will be another day.
Right.
Yesterday, I decided I wanted to take a nap at 2:00 because taxes were making me a little stressed. And even though I have the best, accountant and I always file an extension, I was still stressed out because I was like, okay, this is the first year, 2024 is the first year that I'm going in as a company, as an LLC, as a, someone who did it.
Like, you're like, I've been a grown-up for a while, but it feels like different. It feels
like you're used to I was used to a clutch salary and they were taking out, my taxes and I had my 401k and now it's like you eat what you kill, right? And so it was stressful and I was like, I want to take a nap. So I'm happy doing both.
And how do you, I think for us, like, we're the same in the sense of like we have different gigs, right? As an actor, every season is different. I have seasons that are like I have gigs back to back, and then I have seasons that I'm like, oh wow, this is pretty dry out there. I find that the seasons that are a little drier for me, I'm really hard on myself of like, okay, you're not doing as much. And I have a lot of my self-worth on like, well, I'm not doing a lot and I should be doing more, and look at how old I am and I'm not there yet. And then the seasons that I have that are really high, I go back to those seasons. I'm like, thank God I had those seasons to rest, even though I didn't see it that way. When you hear someone say that, what is your best advice to them?
I think it's all about giving yourself grace.
Yeah.
Like not being hard on yourself. An example was yesterday when I was looking back at my 2024, I was like, wow, like not only did I make more than what my salary used to be.
Wow.
But I got all these random opportunities that I didn't even go looking for. Like I'm a big manifester.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in the creator. I'm all those things, right? I'm a big believer in karma. So like I got all those check marks and good things are coming for me no matter what. But I didn't really put myself out there because I had to also be, a girlfriend and a fiance and do the back and forth. And I wanted to prioritize my personal life and my relationship and my family and stuff like that, which when I was waking up at like 2:30 in the morning to go to work for hair and makeup at 3:15, it was really hard to be present half the time because I was a zombie.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just about giving yourself grace and just being a good planner, right? Like you are going to go through those seasons that are going to be not as busy as the high seasons. So it's just about like planning ahead and giving yourself grace whenever, you aren't that booked and busy. And it's something that I still learn every day, but I've gotten better at it. Like just this week, I lost a gig to an influencer and then I lost another gig because I was too much of an influencer. And I was like, make that make sense. That doesn't make any sense at whatsoever. All. And so those are some of the things that, stress me out as a businesswoman and as a person that's, in charge of her career. But yeah, you just give yourself a little bit of grace.
I want to talk about the Miami Heat a little bit. You've been working with them for how long now?
I started December of I've been there for 2 years now.
Wow.
2 seasons, 2 full seasons and a half because I went in 2023 at the end of December as just like a fill-in, as just like, I was helping them out because Dale, like the main male host, who's been there for 19 seasons, which is wild. Wow. He also does like bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs. And so he couldn't go to work for a couple of the games, couldn't work a couple of the games. So they're like, hey, do you mind like, jumping in? And I was like, yeah, I would love to. And so then as I was figuring out what my next steps were and I had a conversation with them, they're like, hey, like come join us for 41 home games. And I was like, say less. But you accept me as Kelly Blanco, not as Kelly NBC6 because, I'm in the middle of some changes. And, they were more than happy to accept me into the family. And it's been really, really nice.
As a Miami girl, how does that feel? It's crazy because, well, for those who don't know, Kelly and Junior is another one, who spoke my name in rooms to get me to sing the national anthem. And I guess I didn't think about it that much, because if I would have thought about it that much, I would have like not done it and been too nervous.
And you had a big day that day, and it was a stressful day, and you still knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, 3 days before it was my wedding, I found out.
Was it the Airbnb?
The Airbnb, it was we got scammed. Like, it was a whole thing. I was so nervous. And it's funny because I didn't realize what a huge deal it was until after that everyone started congratulating me. I posted it online, and on the way home, Eddie's like, you know that you just sang in our Madison Square Garden.
Mm-hmm.
And
once, gave me chills.
Yeah, and once
he was such like, oh my gosh, he was taking pictures. His eyes were it was so nice watching him. It was
so cool to watch him support me. Like, it was really cool. But it felt, as a Miami girl, doing that was insane. So I can't imagine how it feels being the MC for like the Miami Heat. Like,
it's the greatest honor, and it's so fun. I've known Dale and MDOT for over a decade. So the fact that I get to, work at play with them is so cool. And I really respect them so much in their crafts. And we've seen each other grow up in the industry, which is also so nice. So to have them as like my, the Tres Amigos is really fun. But, when you think of Miami Heat, you think of heat culture, right? Mm-hmm. And I think of the spirit of excellence, because everything that they do, no matter front of the house, back of the house, like, it doesn't matter who works there or what your role is, as small or as big. Like, you go in there and you just want to be great.
No, it felt the energy was just insane. It was the best thing to kick off my wedding weekend.
I know your week.
Yeah. It was like insane. I had this rush of adrenaline for like 3 days because the energy was just so crazy out there. And to see you do that again, from seeing you from where you started to like where you are now, it was just like, it's so inspirational and such like an awe. And you, who are such a like hype woman, which is really, really cool to see. I want to like go into that. You're a hype woman. You're always hyping everyone up. You're supporting the community. You have these group of best friends, and you guys are like the definition of like girlhood.
We really are.
No. I look forward to your girls' trip every single year. I'm like, where are they going this year? And all of you are so successful in the avenues that you're in, which is also really, really cool to see. How did that group start, and what does that mean to you, and where you are in your career?
Yeah, it means everything to me to have that group. They really are like, we're each other's soulmates. And I really do believe that, right? And we all kind of are in the same industry.
Right.
And we started off, when I was trying to be on TV, when the other girls were trying to be on radio or do, different things. But it's the same business, really, all of us. And the fact that it's never been like a competition or anything like that, is a blessing, because sometimes I'm like scrolling on TikTok and there's like videos of like people like, will you be my friend? I have no girlfriends. I have it. And I'm just like, how? And I'll send it to them. Like, how lucky are we? Like, it's not like one, it's 5 of us.
Yeah. And
it's like a true ride or die relationship.
Yeah.
And we've been through the highest ups. Two of the girls are on network television and they have really like huge careers. And the other girls are also just as successful in their own craft. And so we've been through like the highest of highs, and we've also been through the lowest of lows.
Yeah.
And we've been there for each other, throughout everything. And it really does mean the world. I wish everybody would be able to experience the kind of love and friendship that we have, because it's just, there's no judging, just love, just acceptance.
No, and you can see it, because it's like, there's sometimes you see some group of friends and you're like, it doesn't all look genuine. And every time you girls are together, it's just like it looks genuine. The support is crazy. The saying the competition, because it's hard. It's hard to be in an industry that everyone's kind of doing the same thing,
Right.
And not feel a competition. And when you meet those type of people that you're just like, oh, I can just be myself,
Yeah.
and not feel judgment and not feel like, oh, if I succeed in something, my team is not going to cheer me on. So
No, that couldn't be further from the truth. Like, this is ride or die, full hype at all times.
now,
For any reason, we are hyping each other up.
is there someone in the group that's more of like, I'm going to tell you how it is no matter what? Or do you guys all like share that with each other? Like if something is up, everyone's going to be like, hey, we need to talk to you. Or is there like one person that's like the more of like the nurturing one? Like who plays what in the group? What
Yeah, that's
roles?
funny that you say that, because we actually, I think this was like last year, we had to have a conversation with
one of the
girls, and we were like, okay, we're gonna do it. And at first, it's kind of like, okay, it's easy to talk about the happy times and the good things, right? But sometimes it's a little difficult and uncomfortable to have those uncomfortable conversations.
Right.
And having that conversation made us so much stronger, because we realized that we really could come to each other
With
unapologetically and be completely raw about our feelings and what we're going through. And it made us that much stronger. I think we all are type A
Yeah.
alphas.
Yeah.
So that sounds crazy that we all get along.
But that's why it's insane, because you can the powerhouses and the personalities in the group, which you would see somewhere else, could clash,
Yeah.
No.
It doesn't clash at all. And I think we're all equally,
Is there a Gemini in the group?
No.
That's why. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No. Sorry, Gemini.
Oh, yeah. No comment on Geminis. So sketch. Just kidding.
Just kidding. We love our Gemmies.
No, men or women? Because men Geminis are...
Listen, I've learned to accept Geminis in the past, a past year and a half. I have a really good friend who's a Gemini, and she's made me see them in a different light, but I still...
Gemini females and Gemini males are different, though.
My godson's a Gemini male, and he is like beautiful. He's like great. But I've known some Gemini women who I'm just like, girl.
Their rising is different. That's why.
Yeah. You're a Virgo.
I'm a Virgo through and through. My rising
Are you
is
September?
a Virgo. September.
Okay. My little sister's a Virgo.
Yeah, I'm as Virgo as they get. Yeah. And even my rising is a Virgo. My Venus is in Leo, whatever that means.
What's your moon?
I'm a Virgo in everything.
Kelly.
I'm type A OCD
Holy
crazy person.
crap.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm such a teacher's pet, like straight line.
My little sister's a Virgo, but she's a Virgo, and I think she has Virgo in her rising or moon too. But she is like, and I'm a Pisces. So, dreamy.
I do like Pisces.
Pisces and Virgos. Two of my best friends are Virgos too. So it's like,
there you go.
I'm full, like you guys are surrounding
We're good
me.
people to have around.
No, amazing people, especially like us who like need a little like guidance every now and then.
The dreamers need a Virgo to bring you to be, yes.
Eddie's a Capricorn, Taurus, Capricorn. And as grounded.
What month is Capricorn?
December, January, but he's January.
Okay.
January I'm also January 12th.
Okay. My fiance is January 27th.
He's an Aquarius.
Is that an Aquarius? Okay.
Aquarius.
I don't follow enough to know like what
crazy.
Month is what.
I'm like the person like on my first date that I'm like talking whatever, and I'm like, so what sign are you?
What sign are you? What's your credit score?
Like, you know what? I like I didn't ask that, but that's an important question to ask, ladies.
It really is. I'm glad we don't have to worry about that anymore.
No, I'm so happy. Like
these streets are dangerous.
My cousins are Gen Z, and they're like in their 20s and now starting to date and doing the whole thing. And I won't say her name so that people, even though they're gonna know who it is, but one of my cousins went on a date last week with a guy that she met on like one of the dating apps. He was an hour late. he's, first of all, she's 21.
What?
He's 26 and a lawyer. Like, you're a professional.
How dare you?
And he showed up an hour late, and I was like, girl, the streets are rough. Like,
So did she wait?
she was in her car and she
Okay.
waited because she's like, I'm here. I'm going to get like my meal now. But I was like, if you would have called me, I would have told you to leave.
And did she like him?
No, she like literally he got off the car and she was like, you're an hour late. And he's like, I know it. She's like, you're like a grown man. Like, that doesn't make any
Right.
sense. Whatever, they sat at dinner and she was just appalled that like he never like apologized and was never like, I'm so sorry. And she's like, let me ask you a question. Like, are you late to court?
Right.
And he's like, no, of course not. And she's like,
Okay.
oh, okay.
so clearly this wasn't important.
But she's like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, oh my God, I remember those days.
I'm glad she like held him accountable. That's one of my favorite things in the world is to hold people accountable.
She held him accountable. And then he texted her when home safe. And then he texted her, I hope this doesn't like ruin the chances for a second date. And she was like, no, there is no second date. Like, I'm not going on a date with you again. But like, thank you so much. Appreciate like dinner.
The time, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, the streets are, I just got married. You're getting married. Mm-hmm. Ooh. Should we talk a little bit? Let's get away a little bit from career and talk a little bit about wedding and love and your fiance. How has being in love changed Kelly?
Oh my God, in every way. It's so fun. I'm so grateful for him. We are similar in a lot of ways, but completely different in other ways. He has no idea about like this career of mine, and I have no idea about his. He's like in finance. He deals with numbers, and I don't ever want to deal with numbers. Right. And so it's just been really nice to be able to be vulnerable for once in a long, long, long time. And to know that that person has your back no matter what and your best intentions. And yeah, it feels awesome. It's so cool to like have a bestie who you're in love with and get to share, you know, special moments and ups and downs with. Yeah, it's awesome.
And I think it's like important. I don't know if you watch Summer House.
I don't.
Okay, Summer House is a Bravo.
But I know the girls and
Paige. So it's been this
breakup.
Okay, so it's been this really big thing that she was like, if you're not a Bravo like person, Paige was dating another guy from another show called, I don't even know his name, Craig. I think his name is Craig. And Paige is killing the game right now. She's like doing so much, and their whole like storyline was
her bestie, right?
Yeah, they have like a
comedian.
Podcast. Hannah.
Yeah,
and the whole season was about like how he can't get over how busy she is and like how she's doing so many things.
That's why they broke up?
Yeah, they broke up because she was just like, I'm going to do my career. Like, I can't like, and it's been this whole thing. And every conversation is like, well, you don't have time for me and you're doing this and you're doing that. And I'm just like, I can never, ever imagine Eddie sitting down and having a conversation with me.
Yeah.
If my career was at a point that I've always dreamt for it to be and I'm busier than ever, he would be cheering me on. Like, tell me, like, how does that feel to like, because you wouldn't be with someone who was like, hey, you're too busy. You can't do this. I need like.
No, but I will tell you that in the beginning, like when I first met him and was going through the, you know, transition of onto my next chapter, like I don't know if I had met him a year ago or 2 years ago, if that would have been the same thing.
Right.
You know, like I knew 3 years ago that this was going to be my last contract going into it. I knew that. Like I knew I wanted something different for myself.
Right.
But I don't know if I would have been like, hey, I'm going to drop, you know, the events I'm doing on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday and go travel to this island that you live in that I've never, you know, been to. I don't know if I would have done that, but I was ready at that point in my life to be able to have love and open my heart.
And I think that speaks a lot on like, when they say it's all about the timing with love, and you're always like, oh my God, okay, like whatever, like it'll happen when it happens and it's gonna happen when the time is right, and you're just like, okay, I'm sick of hearing that. And then when it happens and you're like, oh shit, I would have not been ready for that, like you said 3 years ago.
Like I knew stepping into that season of my life that I wanted to prioritize myself. And when he was sent to me by the heavens, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to prioritize this relationship.
Yeah.
And there are some days where I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to take that gig because we have plans to go somewhere.
Right.
Or because I have plans to go see him
Yeah.
or whatever. And I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay being able to pick and choose what I want, because at the end of the day, like, sure, a career is absolutely incredible, but like, having a partner is priceless, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that you have to understand, and I don't know if it's probably like this in every industry, honestly, in every career.
Yeah.
Like, you're nothing but a number.
Oh,
So
100%.
at the end of the day, like, they can drop you
Mm-hmm.
and not think about you ever again, and go and hire someone cheaper and younger or whatever the flavor of the month is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then what were all those sacrifices for?
Right. No,
You
it's
know?
100% true.
It just depends.
Yeah. No, it's true. And I think seeing her as a young, like, person getting into the industry, and I think they were together for a while. And she even said that she's like, we were together for a while, and I like moved my life from New York to Charleston, and I was with you, and I did all that, and I'm finally at a place that I get to do a little bit of my stuff. But I think her whole thing was like, why don't you come with me and join this ride? And he just couldn't like fathom that he wasn't like the center of attention type thing. And I think that it's not about like not putting that person first. I think it's like when it becomes about the other person and the other person,
team.
right? Doesn't like, if I'm winning, you're winning,
Right. And there's going to be a time where like your husband is going to have to take the back seat and go with you to watch you sing the national anthem. There's going to be a time where you're going to have to put something aside to go watch him open up a new bar. Like, no one's keeping tabs here.
Exactly. And I think that from like all the relationships I've been in, this one was so different because it was that support of like, hey, this is your season, I'm supporting you, and then I support him in his season. And it's like this back and forth. And I think that's what makes a good, and there's not like up and downs in a relationship.
Course.
Like,
We're human. We're difficult people.
but it's just like understanding and knowing that it's not about like, it's about collaborating with the person, not of like, oh, I have to like give this up to be with like this person.
Right.
How's wedding planning?
Oh my gosh. It's been a struggle, to be honest. I'm upset that I didn't go into the wedding industry.
No. Me and Eddie talk about it all the time, but we still have time.
We still have time,
if you and I
honestly.
want to do something,
Truly, though.
like,
you do like
well, I'm
content.
and I'm gonna start doing like wedding design.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I remember, what was it, like 2 weeks ago? You're like, you stole my design. I was like, who stole your design?
I was so mad. It wasn't even about it. I think it was just like, it was literally copy and paste. It was like copy and paste. And it's like, okay, I got over it after.
You did pick the popular colors. Like,
I
the
did.
green is trending.
Yeah, the green is trending.
The draping is
But
trending.
even though it's leaving and now it's like all reds, like that's like
no,
the
I
new
don't want
trend
red.
right now.
No.
But wedding, I want to talk a second because I feel like online and every time you hear about weddings, like you hear like the good and the, oh my God, and the fairy tales, and you see all these things. You guys, wedding planning is, and I know this is not gonna sound like real, but wedding planning is one of the most stressful things I've ever done in my entire life. Like, it was crazy. And I'm psychotic because I would like map up every detail. It's funny because like down to the roses, I was like, they need to be like a burnt amber color. And my wedding planner would look at me like, you are psychotic. But it was really hard. And the industry, I think after 2020 hit this like crazy market, and the quotes that you get for things is like,
Jesus, take the wheel. I was telling you, we just got quoted by a lovely place, and the people there could not be any lovelier. Love the people, but I don't think their, I guess, their banquet director or whatever did the math.
Yeah.
But we got quoted $70 per person for a guacamole station. My girlfriend was like, girl, I will go over there and I will smash that guacamole myself. I was like, what? And obviously my fiance is a numbers guy. So he responds and he's like, I'd like to know in grams how much guacamole each guest is getting. And I was like, I don't think anyone has asked that. You know, he's like, what are the grams in guacamole? What are the I don't know, it was just absurd. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't think they did the math right. Or is it that crazy?
I think what happens and I might get shit for this, but I think what happens is like, you know that people are gonna pay it.
They're in a vulnerable state
Right.
of being like, okay, if this is my dream wedding,
Right.
and that's what I want,
What's
then I'm gonna
what's an extra
exactly
that? And I think that's kind of what has happened in the industry. I got really lucky with all my vendors who were incredible. I mean, I recommend them now to like every single person. They were,
I mean, it was epic. Everything was like perfection.
thank you. It was insane. And all my vendors were incredible and amazing. But like, I can't imagine getting quotes from, I have a friend who got a quote from a wedding planner for $15K.
Okay, I am your friend. Like, this is me because I got.
Well, what?
I've gotten quotes for $20K. I've gotten quotes for. I've gotten really ridiculous quotes. And listen,
And
like
hair and makeup. Wait until you get to hair and makeup.
No. My best friend does my hair, and one of my nieces does makeup.
Good.
And I've used my same makeup artist for like 10 years. So you better come through as my wedding present. Like, that's my.
heard
that's
that?
all I'm asking for.
You heard that?
So that is probably the only thing where I'm not gonna get screwed, to be honest.
Well, and I didn't either. And my makeup artist was Jen. Shout out to, like, she'll be my makeup artist for the rest of my life.
You looked perfect.
Thank you.
Everything was perfect.
But I got a couple. Well,
Did you always know that you wanted that style of wedding, or did you did you pivot from like having like a 200-person wedding?
No. So I always wanted the big wedding since I was little.
Really?
I was always a big wedding girl. I wanted a big wedding. I dreamed of a big wedding. I planned weddings on my Pinterest. And then I got older.
You were one of those.
I was, oh my gosh. I like, if you look at my Pinterest, I have boards and boards from years ago of what
loca.
I thought my, yeah, no, I was like, I loved the idea of like a wedding and just like the whole thing. And then I met Eddie, who was not like, I'm not getting married and I'm not having kids type of guy.
That's what he said to you?
He was not a marriage guy and wasn't a kid guy. And like, I was like, oh, okay, so this will be fun. And then he realized how amazing I am. And he was like, actually, I do want to get married and have kids, but I don't want a wedding. I don't want a wedding. He did a huge proposal. Like my little sister wasn't there, but my sister, her wife, my mom, and his parents were there. So it was like very intimate. So he did like what he thought was like,
yeah.
And he tells me, okay, like, I don't want a wedding. I don't want to do that. And I was like, you know what? It's fine. Let's
And you're
compromise.
like, but my Pinterest board.
Right. And I was like, you know what? It's fine. We'll compromise. We'll elope. Like that was a big thing. But I still want my dress and pictures. Like that was my compromise. I still want my dress and I still want pictures.
Those pictures were just
And then
perfection.
my best friend got married. My sister got married. Another friend of mine got married.
And they were big weddings?
And they were big weddings.
Okay.
And I got, like, it was this back and forth thing. I saw how much stress they were on and I was like, I can't do that. I'm going to be so stressed out. I'm going to be super like type A about everything. And then I was like, but that's so much fun and a celebration and whatever. I last year was like, okay, let's just do a party, like a reception. We'll go, we'll take pictures. And then after we take our pictures, we have a party and it's just cocktails and fun. And then in November of last year,
How long were you engaged?
3 years.
See, when my fiance watches this, I want him to understand.
Listen, and I'm so
Time
happy.
goes by and it's okay.
And like, we really enjoyed that stage.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't think people get engaged and automatically start planning the wedding. And it's
true.
like, you're never going to be a fiance again.
I know.
And you're never going to have that stage again. So I really did like enjoy being a fiance.
Love that.
And then in November of last year, I got my dress. And I woke up one day and I said, how are people not going to see me
in
walk
this?
down the aisle in this dress?
Right.
And I freaked out and I called my friend Natasha, who's my wedding planner. And I was like, I want to do something. I don't know what I want to do, but I want to do something. And she honestly is amazing because every other week I had a different idea, a different place, something that I wanted to do. And then 3 months before the wedding, I said, this is what we're going to do. And I talked to Eileen, we booked Amelia's, and I I planned it all in 3 months. It was insanity.
It was perfect. It was so you. It was so
no,
him.
it was
and
perfect.
On 305 day, let's go.
It was like
The details, everything was
and everyone,
so nice.
all my photographers and my videographers were all very like, it was so unique, which is what I wanted. And I think I had such a struggle with like back and forth of wanting a wedding and not wanting a wedding, because I know that I didn't want it to look like everybody else's wedding. And I knew I wanted it to represent who
you guys are as individuals and as
a couple.
Right.
That was like my biggest thing was, I want you to walk in and feel us from the moment you walked in. And that everyone told me that they were like, you can feel the love, you can feel the story. It was the best night of my life. I will tell you.
It was like walking into Amparo, but in addition of your life.
Yes, that's what I wanted. And I got so many people who told me I felt like I was back in Club Náutico, and I'm like, thank you, because that was the goal, was to reenact the place that we fell in love, and that it was incredible. I will tell you, the week before your wedding, your nerves are going, and I'm saying this because no one like warned me, and I wish that like,
I hope I'm nervous, to be honest, because sometimes I have a hard time getting nervous at things. I want to be nervous.
I wasn't nervous. I was anxious.
I want to be all of that.
The week before and the night before, it's funny because like I could not stop crying the night before. Oh, but it was a cry of like, I was so filled with so many emotions. I was so excited. I was nervous. I was really happy. There was this like, not sadness, but it was like, I was staying in an Airbnb with my sisters and my mom. And it was like the whole like thing of like, oh my God, like we really are like each living our own lives. So I was feeling so many different emotions. And we were on our way back from our rehearsal, and I'm like crying, and he's like, this is supposed to be happy, and I'm like, no, I am. I'm like sobbing, and I'm like, I am happy, like I'm so happy. I'm just like,
I can't make it stop.
I was like, I'm feeling so many different emotions, and I didn't know this is how I would feel. But the day of, it was just perfect, and Kelly, it goes by so fast. Like, just enjoy like every like moment of it.
I'm excited to start planning. I've picked my location out of a bowl.
I love that. As a type A person,
that
I'm really proud of you.
Right?
No, like crazy.
We have gone, I mean, one of your best friends is getting married in Spain. We toyed around the idea of Mallorca. We went to South Africa to look for a venue.
Crazy.
We thought we were going to get like the most bang for our buck. And I love South Africa. And the quote was insane, like actually insane. We thought about Carmel. That quote was insane. Like, oh, if I want a wedding like this, how much? They're like, oh, $498,000. And I was like, what? Does that come with a brand new home?
Yeah.
We have, so like Mexico, South Africa, Spain. Where else were we thinking? California, Hawaii. We've spoken to planners.
Oh my gosh.
Everywhere in the world. Like, apologies for wasting your time. But also, like, what the heck?
No,
this
it's
is so much freaking money. And so it was, like, hard for me to, like, because I'm like, man, the courthouse sounds great because we're going to be saving so much money.
And listen, the San Francisco courthouse is...
Oh, yeah, it is stunning.
Insane.
But I think well, we would regret not having a wedding and having all of our favorite people under one roof. We have decided where we're going to get married. And so I'm excited to start the planning, the planning process. But man, what a headache. And a lot of people are like, oh, this like wedding planning breaks up people. And I can see how stressful that is, but I'm not taking it as that. I'm taking it as like a fun project. Yeah. Like we both are not going to get into arguments about stuff. We like the same stuff. We're both foodies. We know that like attention to detail is huge, and then like service, food, wine, like that stuff, and then just making it a fun experience for our friends and family.
Yeah,
because they'll be traveling quite a few miles, but I'm excited for it. But yeah, the wedding industry, like man,
it's crazy, and it's funny because before I used to see these like elaborate weddings and I'm like, oh my God, how amazing. And now I see these elaborate weddings knowing like what things cost. And I'm like, oh my God, your flowers look like they cost $500,000. Like,
No.
what are you?
The flower quotes? Are you kidding me? Like,
Floral quotes are insane.
I would feel so bad with like all those flowers being thrown away the next day
that's my
that
whole
I can't do that.
That's my whole thing.
I don't even know what I'm gonna do.
And
Candles, I don't know, but like I definitely don't want to spend $25,000 on flowers.
No, and listen, as an artist, I understand that like you price your work as like what you value yourself.
Yeah.
And I don't take that away from people, but I also think that it's like sometimes I look at things and I'm like, wow, like this is, and a lot of their response is like, well, it's a luxury. You don't have to do this. And I'm like, I get it.
Fair.
Fair.
You're not wrong.
You're not wrong. But at the same time, it's like, I reached out to a hair person who charged $500.
A hair person.
$500? $500 for
Wait.
bridal hair.
Okay. I don't mean to like rain on your parade, but I've seen quotes for like $3,000 for hair.
I cannot imagine, like, if I go to someone today and they charge me $275 for hair and makeup, like, but then I tell you I'm a bride and it doesn't make sense to me, because yes, we have to talk back and forth a little bit, but once I give you where I'm getting ready, where my wedding is, and all my details, I don't have to talk to you until we do it again. Yeah. And like, you're doing the same thing that you're doing to me that you're doing to somebody else.
Right. I heard once that it was like they charge more, like hair and makeup will charge more because they know that like it's going to be a day where there's going to be a lot of emotions. And so like they take that into
the trial's not even, people usually charge extra for a trial. If you want them to stay with you for touch-ups, that's extra. You have to pay a travel fee, like all these things, which I get it. If you're traveling somewhere and picking up and taking your stuff, I get that. But some of these quotes that I was getting was like, I couldn't believe it.
But it's true. They do say, if you say like, hey, I'm having an event or whatever, what are you quoting me? And then as soon as you say it's a wedding,
that's it. Everything goes up from there.
It's nuts.
After you get married, we're gonna join a business and we're gonna do it.
I mean,
like
100%. And we will be fair.
And we will be fair.
And we'll do giveaways.
And we'll do giveaways all the time. And like, if you can't afford us, it's fine. Like maybe we'll do pro bono stuff.
It is a headache, but it'll be worth it. But no, I do agree that like, stop taking advantage of brides.
No, it is. You have to stop taking advantage. And I think it's something that people need to talk about. And every time I see people talk about it on TikTok, I see vendors in the comments of like, well, you don't understand. And I'm like, we're not devaluing your work.
No.
It's just like, you can't be crazy
just
out
be
here.
Fair.
Right. Be fair.
Just be fair.
And already a wedding that you know, like the bride is already spending a lot on different things.
Don't
like
charge $70 per person for guacamole.
For guacamole. What is wrong with you? Another thing I will tell you that no one warned me about, and I was so pissed at all my friends, was the post-wedding blues. Kelly. Like, it didn't hit me. I was on a high for like 2 weeks. I was on a high.
And then you're like, I have nothing else to plan. I have nothing to plan.
And I literally was so depressed. Like,
you were depressed?
Holy shit. I went into such a depressive episode because I guess I was doing so much. I was doing a show, plus the podcast, plus the wedding. And like, it was so much going on. And then the last week of getting the wedding ready, and then the high of it, that I was like, I remember talking to Eddie and I'm like, why do I feel so sad?
How did he feel?
Okay.
Guys are like,
he was
0 Fs.
It's funny because he felt a little like down too. For someone who did not want a wedding, the day after, he looked at me and he said, I had the time of my life. I kind not imagine not doing this. I would do this every weekend.
But you're like, don't tempt me with a good time.
I was like, hey, our 1 year anniversary, we can do it all over again. But he kind of felt like weird too, of just like, wow, are you feeling down? And I'm like, yeah, like it was crazy. Like your emotions are so high and everything's so high. And then you go to like, oh, and now I understand why people go on their honeymoon, like literally like right after, because
Okay, that's good
you're
to
on
know.
like that high, and the high continues on like your honeymoon.
That's good to know.
'Cause
I
we're
was
not
just
doing-
a bridesmaid in December and then in September. And both of those brides were like, yeah, this was great. But they didn't say anything about, you know, post-wedding blues.
And my best friend texted me at one day, and she was like, "So how are those post wedding like feels coming in?" And I'm like, first of all, you're a bitch for not even
Why didn't
telling
you-
me
yeah,
that
give me a
I was
heads
gonna
up.
feel like this. Like, yeah, it was.
Well, thank you for the heads up.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that.
It's crazy because you spend all this time planning and you do it, and now you're looking at pictures and you're like, wait, I want to go back and do it all over again.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so just be prepared for that.
I don't want wedding blues.
I know. Those were rough. And maybe I'm just like an emotional, like, so it was like extra rough for me, but
So am I. Like people think I'm like, but
The
I mean,
Virgo,
my
it's
fiance will tell you, like, I cry at Publix commercials. Like,
my God.
don't even start Love on the Spectrum because honestly, like, a mess. It's my favorite show in the whole wide world.
Oh my God. I can't. It's, what's it, Tanner?
Bless him. My heart.
Bless him. I love it.
Yeah. And I don't know why I have such a special connection with people with disabilities.
Wait, I want to go into, now that you said
let's
that,
do
I
it.
want to go into Wow Center, and like
Yeah.
you're on the board of directors.
Yeah. So I met them at Sunset Place.
Can
How
we talk a
random.
little bit, for those who don't know what WOW is? Can you talk a little bit about what WOW is, and then how you got involved with them?
Yeah, so it's a center. WOW Center is a center for people with disabilities over the age of 18.
Okay.
Because people don't understand that, you know, the government gives the parents and stuff funding up until the age of 18. And then after 18, you're kind of like on your own.
Wow.
And so the WOW Center was built and created by parents who needed the resources because now their children or their teens were kind of like left to figure out their programming. And so it's just the most magical place. And I met them. They were on like a field trip at Sunset Place. And I was obviously at NBC. And we used to do like meet and greet in the morning where we would give out café and pastelitos
Yes,
just
I
for
remember
people
that.
to like get to know us. And they just ran up to us. We were next to like a tent with Y100. And they wanted to do karaoke, and they wanted to sing, and they wanted to dance. And it was just like such a special moment that I was like, okay, I don't know who the heck you guys are or where you're coming from, but I want to be your friend. You're stuck with me forever. And so I got involved, and I started, you know, emceeing their galas and donating time and donating money. And then once I had more time, you know, and I had left, they asked me, you know, they asked me if I would join the board, and I hadn't even thought about that, you know? I was just like happy to be there, happy to, you know, have them as my BFFs. And it's been really rewarding. And it's nice to have shows like Love on the Spectrum because you realize that we're more alike than different, you know? And then you also realize how messed up we are because they're like, it's just the purest form of like gratitude and love and just no ego.
Yep.
They're so fun. They're so funny. Like it's just, they're so grateful. Right. They're the best people on earth.
Yeah.
Truly. I think that they are smarter than us. And I think they have a sixth sense that they can really smell whether you're a good person or not. It's been really rewarding. And I wish like everyone has the time to go visit the WOW Center and get involved.
Yeah.
Because it's really a really special and unique place.
I worked with kids with disabilities for a while. I did singing and acting with them. And it, to this day, is one of the most rewarding things I've ever done, because I think for me, you see them and they're put in this box, and and it's just like, no, they can do so much more. And if the resources were out there, then it would be amazing.
Right.
But I remember I had kids who were nonverbal, and we would start, and there was some like people there that would be like, well, they're nonverbal. That's what they are. They're not going to be able. And I was like, no, like, it's not that I want to change them. It's that I know that they can do it.
Right.
And I'll never forget my 2 nonverbal kids by the end of the semester were singing like songs and doing dances. And it was just like, it was such a rewarding thing. I see you do it. A friend of mine, Kathy San Pedro, works also with WOW.
Kathy is on the board and she's a rock star.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
And just to see you guys do that and to do it for the community is such an important thing. How do you think working with them has changed you?
Oh, in every way. Yeah. Honestly, from the day that I met them, it changed me. Like it just made me wake up with more gratitude in my heart. And it makes you also like think of yourself less and think of others, because we're all in this together, right? We're all humans living in this world that, you know, times are tough, times are good, times are tough. And sometimes we just like are in our bubble and are only worried about ourselves. But like, I want to make you better. I want to make them better, you know? And so like, it's really changed me for the best. They've made me who I am, to be honest, because they've given me so much to look forward to. And I just wake up with like a heart of gratitude every day. Because like when I see them and they're like, I got a sock, it's such a great sock. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? They're like, look at this. And I feel like, okay, when you're born, when you're like a toddler, when you're a kid, you're not jaded, right? By like society and by like everything that you've dealt with. And like, I see them like that too. Like they're looking through these like rose-colored glasses that are like just so beautiful, and everything is so like innocent, and they're just happy to be here. And obviously they have their bad days, they have their good days, just like we have our tantrums sometimes. But it's all about like seeing it with like a fresh like set of eyes and not being like jaded.
Right. How, if people want to get involved, how can they get involved with the WOW Center?
They can look up WOW Center online and on Instagram, or like you can DM me and I'd be happy to connect you. We do, like, if you're like a company and you guys want to come, and we have like Amazon coming in sometimes, Walmart, like these big companies that want to get involved. And we're so grateful for that. But whether you're like an individual who just wants to come and hang out and see what we're about and volunteer your time, happy to have you. Yeah. And then if you're a company and you want to do like a give back day, a day of service where you have your staff come in and, you know, do some stuff with them, whether it's like read a book. We have like technology class, like music class, like PE, like everything that you would have in a regular school. We have dance parties where DJ Cardi, who's one of the DJs for the Miami Heat, and I've known him since I was like 13. He'll come and do dance party Fridays too, and DJ, and they are such good dancers. Let me tell you. So yeah, just reach out to me or look them up online or on their Instagram, and we'd be happy to open up the doors to the WOW Center to you.
You're doing so many cool things in your career, but like what's so great about you is that you give so much to the community, and you're someone that it's like, if you're winning, everyone around you is winning. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that you speak others' names in rooms that they're not in, and that's really, really important. And just who you are in our community. And I know that sometimes we see ourselves that's just like a normal person, but you really are killing the game, and just seeing you and everything that you're doing really is inspiring. It really, really is.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today.
I had so much fun.
I have one more question. If little Kelly can see you now.
Little Kelly is still little at 5'1", but yeah.
If you had coffee with her today, what would you tell her?
I saw this. This was a TikTok, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Man, I would just say, so one thing that I always think about is like how I am is a result of like my childhood and my upbringing. Like I don't deserve the parents that I have, but I thank Papa Dios for it all the time, because they really gave me the necessary tools to be who I am. Yeah. But I think I would just tell her, how old is little Kelly though? Are we talking 21? Are we talking 6? Like how old are we? Is Kelly of
think of the Kelly that needed the most advice?
I'm gonna say this, and it's weird, but this Kelly needs that Kelly more, because that Kelly was fearless. Like that Kelly was, I don't even know where she got that from. I think it was my parents just like believing in me and like just telling me that anything was possible.
Yeah.
And I understood that from an early age that they had sacrificed a lot. And I was just like, yeah, I'm going to go on Craigslist and look up for hosting jobs and go to that. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you could have gotten kidnapped. So I think I would just thank her for being so fearless and so strong and having a moral compass through it all.
Yeah.
You know, so if anything, I wouldn't tell her that it was going to be okay or they were going to, you know, find love and be successful. I would basically be there to tell her. So why are your eyes getting watery right now?
I'm like, sorry, Pisces.
if I see someone cry, I'm gonna cry.
That is like, we forget that like we did what we are where we are where we are because of like younger selves and like everything that they did and like went through,
for better or for worse, right? And I can honestly say that my childhood was such a gift, and my adulthood has been such a gift. I've dealt with, you know, some setbacks and heartbreaks and whatnot, but for the most part, I think that my parents praying for me day in and day out has totally made me who I am and kept me safe. So I would probably just say like, thank you for believing in yourself and trusting in God and trusting in, you know, and putting the right people around you and always picking the right friends and the right company, because that also makes a difference, right? So like, thank you for like knowing what I needed at that time, because you made all the difference.
Wow. I love that. Oh my God, making me cry. I was like, I'm thinking to myself, wow, I'm so proud of myself. Like I didn't cry. And
do you usually cry?
Ask Junior. I'm like, I cry so much.
Oh my God.
I cry so much. I haven't cried like lately as much, but you got it. You got it out of me. Oh. Wow.
Bring the tears.
Thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
And for coming on the show and just for being you and for doing what you do for so many women in the industry. Like you really are killing it. And I cannot wait to see what's next for you.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Yay! Kelly! I was like,